Hello, everyone. Welcome to Knightspeed, Season 4, Week 11. The Knights lose a heartbreaker in the space game. We'll discuss that along with what's coming up with Texas Tech. I'm your host, Matt Johnson, with his brother, Mark Johnson.
Hey, everybody.
Wow, that was a tough loss Friday night.
Unfortunately, I think Scott kind of mentioned it today. It's like we've had a few heartbreakers this year.
Yeah,
You know, three
I
points
think
here, 3 points there. He did mention, hey, Houston's having a good year, going 8-2 right now, and
yeah,
they've had a lot of games go their way to where we're the exception. We
yeah.
have had no games really go our way, other than maybe some of the ones in the beginning of the season.
I would say game one. That's the only one that really went our way, and
Right,
really has kind of made it where. And again, I think in years past we probably lose that one,
right.
and it
And
becomes a disaster of a season.
what
So
about Jason Williams, or who's the guy that saved the first game? Remember that they tried to quick snap us and
yeah,
pick up, and they probably would have been able to hold on to the ball,
yeah.
picking up a first down, holding on to the ball, and it was that easy of him getting a tackle behind the line on fourth down
Yeah.
to turn the ball
Play the game.
over.
Yeah.
It was that close. That's the only one that went our way this year.
Heads up play.
Yep.
Right?
Everything else we've lost
Yeah.
by 3 points, or it's just kind of.
Again, the Kansas game could have went our way because you think about it, we could be technically, if not, we could be 7-3, or I'm sorry, 6-3.
Which is a lot better season.
Yeah.
You're bowling at that
Yeah.
point.
Which, speaking about bowling, what do you think?
I don't think it's going to happen this year, but
Don't think there's any possible combination to get us to a bowl.
we'd have to have a huge upset
Yeah.
either
And that's,
in Texas Tech, which is just impossible. I think we've been watching this team, and this team is at this point we're worn out, we're injured, we've got it's been a long year, unfortunately,
yeah.
and I don't think
Well,
we have it
also,
in us.
you look at some of our players too are now starting to be, there's a lot of film on them now. And with a lot of the film on them, there's not really their their stats are starting to go down. You know, I mean, look at last game. Our biggest receiver was Dylan Wade.
Yeah, no, I mean Dylan's had a good season. You know,
Yeah,
he's been a player that's really kind of produced. Um, I think the problem we're having with Taven is I think Taven is tired of being injured. I don't think he's consciously doing it, but you can kind of tell he's starting to kind of get antsy in the pocket, so he's not setting his feet well, so he's overthrowing people like Dylan Wade when he's wide open, things like that. I mean,
yeah,
things that you need guys to do, he's not able to do, and I think it's because he's just tired of waking up on Sunday, or this case it would have been Saturday morning, going, I don't want to get out of bed, you know.
yeah,
And I think it's just been kind of a long season for him. So that's the reason why he had Davi going in the last. I think he was. You can say it was a hamstring, whatever it was, but I think it was just an injury all over his body. Just going, I don't think I can get back out there and really
yeah,
make that drive. I mean,
yeah,
you start talking about the Houston game. We scored 24 points in the first half and three in the second.
yeah. And it was really they clamped down on us. They won there one time. We had a 10 point lead,
Yeah, but it wasn't
and
even
again,
that. It was just. I think that you have a quarterback who's not able to kind of make the plays you need him to make.
well, that's the thing. Even if you go, you look at the 3 points in the second half. Let's say Davi doesn't throw that pick off, and we
Right.
somehow get a long field goal. I don't see us beating him in overtime.
No, no, that was the thing with Davi. It was like, if he was 2 steps quicker, we win that game in shocking fashion.
Well, also, I think just
They
comes to
they
playing
had
time.
outs, go ahead.
I just think it also comes to playing time. I think if he's actually got more time, more snaps, I think
Right.
he sees the break of the receiver faster. It's just it comes down to that, unfortunately, where the guy didn't have really doesn't have enough playing time to it kind of he hasn't caught up to the speed yet, and I think that's what got him.
Right. No, yeah, I think yeah, you can't expect a guy who's been sitting there for 4 hours, you know, who hadn't played probably in a month, right, to go out there and win the game for you. You can't expect that. He played
Yeah.
pretty well. He picked up was it 3rd and 14. That was another thing that which you probably would agree. We had a lot of penalties, especially when you're working from behind the sticks all the time,
Oh, do we have a lot of penalties?
and you go, you can't win games with that kind of problem.
75 yards, 9 penalties. I mean, and you
Well, it was
think
a lot
about it,
of 1st and 15s or 2nd and 15s, and
yeah,
that kills a drive.
yeah. And Houston had what 25 yards in penalties, but still, that's 50 yards in the negative.
Right. I mean, you had a player who when he picked the ball off 3 times,
Hmm.
pick six,
Yeah.
which is legendary, you know, and
Well, he could have had two pick sixes if he decides to go
go
to the
outside.
outside
Yeah, if
as
you went
opposed to
outside rather than in.
on the end. He probably has two pick sixes.
Yeah,
But
nobody
again,
blocking for
notice,
him. I
yeah,
think that's
he
probably
had,
why he
he
went
had
inside.
no one blocked for him,
Everybody's
and that's
looking for him to flip the ball to him. It's like just pick up a block.
yeah,
You know?
and that was tough because you're right. It's like I mean, was it Dunham, Philip
Yeah.
Dunham? It
Hmm.
was look, he goes inside, but yet as soon as he gets that pick, and it was what a fourth and two,
Yeah.
so he kind of jumped the route. So he jumps the route, and then he goes this way. He's you know virtually sizing up with the receiver, and then decides to go inside to where if his counterpart with him, I guess it was you know his other safety pulls
I'm
ahead of
not
him,
sure if
gets
it's
the
Braden
block.
Marshall, but it was somebody like that out there that I think was looking for a pitch rather than to pick up a block. And it's like sometimes you guys get and you know, Taven had a pick six himself, which
Yeah,
didn't help. Like I said, there were a lot of problems with the game that you know that I'm not surprised we didn't win. You can't keep kind of having these kind of setbacks and expect a different outcome than what we had.
no, I agree. I mean,
You know,
again, we didn't have 300 yards total offense all night. I mean,
no,
that's no,
no,
yeah,
yeah,
we're
we got
under
out
300 yards.
we got
Where
out
Houston had
yarded, didn't we?
what's that? Oh yeah, they had over 400 yards on us.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
they rushed for over 200 yards.
yeah, they're at the end of the game when they were really just trying to run the clock out and
Yeah,
and kick a field goal to win it. And that's where you're going to see this week where nobody's put out any kind of injury report yet, but Malachi Lawrence I think has a wrist problem. Um, uh, Najee Kelly had a boot on at the end
yeah,
of the game. We're getting thin.
yeah,
Now we're getting
and
third string guys out there. Not that Najee Kelly and Malachi are first string guys, but the second
yeah,
string guys are out. They've already been
and,
injured. They're
yeah.
done
And you don't want to go into a top 10 team at their place
with this many injuries.
where yeah we've got many injuries. And
I
that's
agree.
concerning. That it really is something that could kind of get ugly. And like I said, I'm not making any score predictions now, but
It can
it could be
get ugly quick.
yeah, it could be bad. But you
And
gotta remember, I mean, Houston, going back to that, they had almost 10 minutes more on the possession than we did.
right.
They ran 20 more plays. And again, we punt 7 times, they punt 3 times. Now, I guess it is kind of even up in the possession with that because they only got 1 out of 3 fourth downs. So,
Okay. Yeah. And one of those fourth downs went for pick six.
yeah,
We got a bobbled punt there. What is that? When
I was turnover, yeah, fumble.
yeah, um, which was big. Like I said, we did many things to win the game. Right. Many things right to win the game.
Yeah. Well, four
And
turnovers too.
yeah,
I
and
mean,
then
you
we
want
kind of sabotaged that opportunity with poor execution, right?
and penalties again,
Don't
as you
even
said
have
earlier. When you're starting off, first and 15 or second and 15.
that's
You know,
it's gonna hurt. Or like I think one time Najee Kelly had a face mask, and it was an attempt to where he went, he dove at I don't know who the quarterback for Houston is, but he got a face mask, and it was
yeah,
like, and that was on third and long, and they didn't,
Carter Wegman.
yeah, they didn't convert on it. But as soon as you get touched, and it wasn't like he kind of yanked on the face mask. It's just his hand went by the guy's face mask.
Yeah,
That's all you get. I
something that
mean,
back in the old days would have been, one of the 5 yarders,
right?
the unintentional face mask, which
Yeah.
I still like that. I think that should still be there
Well,
because
yeah.
it's
You know.
because if you're gonna do that, you might as well have the punt. You touch the punter, it's 15 yards automatically.
Well, we had
Also,
that too. They called that running into the kicker when
yeah,
I was extended, and we could have used that, yeah, that roughing the kicker, and I thought they were going to call that. When he was
yeah,
extended, it was like he just got rid of it. He's extended and gets banged into. It
yeah,
wasn't like he bumped him. He crashed into him. And it's like you got to
yeah.
call that. But the Big 12 officiating is not going to do us any favors.
Well, not this year. Yeah, I
No,
mean this is a yeah,
not this year.
but two of the three next games are on the road and they are
Right.
against ranked teams.
Well, yeah, I don't know what BYU's ranked anymore. Because they got beat pretty handily, didn't they, on Saturday?
Yeah, but they're still ranked.
Right. Well, I don't think they're in the top 12.
Yeah,
The
but
thing that
no, but they're
stinks, it doesn't matter if you're not in the top 12. It doesn't really matter where you're ranked. I mean, I guess it's nice for recruiting or whatever, but let's face it, and you see JMU snuck into the top 25 to where everybody thought it was going to be Memphis, and now Memphis is
yeah.
out and JMU snuck in. They're 25, so they could be getting that G5 spot.
Is there only one G5 team?
Oh yeah, just one. In some years they shouldn't have any, because you look at I don't want to get too far out of it, but all the ESPN teams that are in the top 25, you can tell it's just fixed by ESPN.
Yeah. Well, if you've got a G5 team that has two losses or three, they shouldn't be in the playoff.
Oh no, I agree.
I mean,
Period.
yeah, if you're losing, if you're losing anything at G5, and I think that's what helped with Boise State last year, is they were undefeated. And again, they still
But
look like
they lost to Oregon last year.
I thought it was Penn State.
No, the first game of the season they lost to Oregon.
Oh, that's true. All right, they had one loss.
So they
All
were
right.
11-1, and I guess they were 12-1. They won the whatever Midwest Conference or Mountain West or whatever that.
Mountain West, yeah.
They did not
Well,
deserve to be a number 4 seed. Period.
no, they were
You will
seeded way
never
too high.
convince me otherwise.
They should have been number 12 seed.
Yeah, yeah, they should have been playing
But
at
people
Notre
were saying,
Dame
well,
or
they
wherever.
lost. They lost to the number 4 team. I'm sorry,
Right.
to the number 1 team in the country. And you remember last year was very new. I mean, you can even look at last year's. How was Ohio State, who ended up winning it all, ranked kind of just outside of the top 8? Okay. And then also you look at someone who's got the same identical record to them in Miami, and they're not in it at all.
No, I agree. Yeah, it's this is TV getting their way.
Yeah.
TV is going to ruin the sport. They're giving out money. ESPN is hemorrhaging, dollars, period.
Yeah.
And so is Disney for that fact. And I think that what they're trying to do now is get everybody just to sign up on the ESPN app, and it's just not going the way they think it's going to go.
No.
You know,
Yeah. They'll lose. They'll be big losers on that.
well,
But
you know, nobody cares. I mean, other than those in the Alabama area about Alabama. You see, Alabama's at 4 now, and it's
yeah.
like, of course they are. And it's like, well, it's just the idiot talking points of ESPN about how great the SEC is and how great these, and it's like it gets nauseating to where,
Yeah.
you know, I don't know.
Well, and like I said, it's something that I think needs a lot of tweaking, or it could go really bad. And I guess getting back to UCF, talking about the playoff, I think we're still seasons away from that.
Yeah, unfortunately, we are. I think we're seasons, and what are we going to start contributing into this? Because you're seeing those who are getting in are spending money,
Yeah.
and you and I have talked about, when you look at finances that ESPN, or I'm sorry, but ESPN's paying as well as Fox is paying UCF and in the Big 12, as well as the student fee, we're somewhere up around 85, $90 million here,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And that should be enough to buy some players.
No, I agree. And like I said, is
So
I think the coaching staff really kind of came in. They were behind the eight ball per se, to coin a phrase here. And when you're, you know, after National Recruiting Day is over with and you finally get the job, if we can go 5-7 this year, I guess that was kind of really expected.
right.
Or hoped, but I mean that was really what was expected to be the best we were going to do this year was 5-7.
Yeah, I think we knew it was going to be a tough year. We were all
Yeah.
hoping for 6-6, and everybody has a high regard for Scott. But I
Yeah.
think Scott is one who kind of started realizing, well, this is he likes these kids. He's the one who's practicing them. I think he's favorable to him because I know he knows that they're putting in effort. You know,
Hmm.
it's just we haven't got anything to go our way in any of these games, and then plus you have some of the disadvantages of shooting yourself in the foot with penalties and just sloppy play, sloppy execution, which causes you to be not a very good football team at 4-5.
Well, we have an average to below average G5 roster. I think if we were,
I say our defense is every bit as good as any of the defenses in the Big 12 when it's healthy.
yeah,
But the offense is a G5, middle of the road G5 team. The offense.
okay, I'll restate that.
Defense is as good as anybody, especially in the Big 12, that for what they paid. I mean, obviously teams like Texas Tech paid more for their defense to where, they're probably a better, but we've got a very good defense.
Yeah,
It's getting worse now since the season's gone on. We've had a lot of kids get injured, but our offense is not good. I just can't sugarcoat it anymore. You've
yeah,
got, and we've had our fair share of injuries on offense. Like I said,
yeah,
Miles, Montgomery had a sling on at the end of the game, so he's probably out now.
yeah,
So you've got, Jaden and a Dahi or whatever the guy's name is, the walk on
yeah.
behind him, and that's who we got going into Texas Tech this weekend.
Well, I mean, you think about it. I mean, Greg McCray was a walk on, right?
Well, he was more of a preferred walk on. Let's see what you can do, and we'll give you a scholarship. And then turned into a Dahi
Just a
is a
true
guy.
walk
I
on.
don't think that they expected him to do anything this year except maybe do scout team, and now he's given Jaden Nixon snaps off.
Yeah,
And I don't know if he's good enough to be out there. That's what I talk about. You have a middle of the road G5 offense
offense. Yeah,
because it gets very, you know, very average very quickly on that offense.
yes.
You got you've got linemen that are, doing about as good as you can hope. They're not
Hmm.
really consistent with each other, but they all got thrown together. I guess they're making the best they can with what they got. I think
No, yeah.
if they all came back next year, they'd probably be better. But um, you've got receivers that are not getting open anymore. You know,
Well, that's what I said. I mean, Dylan Wade was our lead receiver last week,
he's
and then
always been consistent.
yes, but then you had Jaden was our second leading receiver.
Okay,
So
Jaden is another fine player, but
yeah,
like I said, Jaden and number 0 there, and but they're not good at blocking. I tell you right now, Jaden doesn't pick up the blitz well.
no,
You know, And I think one reason why we're struggling on offense with running the ball is because our tight ends don't block well.
Yeah.
So
Well,
those
our
guys are,
receivers are struggling with blocking still this late in the season.
and then
I
the
mean,
receivers, yeah.
when you're having receptions and you're getting like a -2 on that, that's that right there just shows me that also the defense doesn't respect your long ball at all.
Right. No, they don't. And that's something that at this point, I don't know if you can change it, you know,
No,
like work
I
something
think
to where maybe get somebody to break free and because they're, I don't know. And it's something that I don't know why you wouldn't look at film and say, well, let's try something. Let's try this. Let's try that. And I think Scott's probably just gone, no, it could just get worse if we do that. At this point, you just keep knocking with what you got. And hopefully you start to get some kind of, continuity and, you know, things start working out.
well,
Running
when
out of time this season, but, nothing at
three
this
games.
point, nothing's a gimme. I don't even think the Oklahoma State game's a gimme at this point with all the injuries.
No,
Like I said, you got third string guys now playing in spots. I mean, um, Nixon, or yeah, he's not a third string guy. He's a second string guy.
yeah,
But the defensive end. But other than that, you got guys who were not, I think, expected to play as many minutes on starting offense as you are now going to start to see.
exactly.
You know, and that was another thing. Braden Marshall got taken off the field, and like I said, I don't know if he's coming back or not. You know,
Yeah,
and Scott might just hold some of these guys out this week and say, I'll see if I can get that guy back for Oklahoma State, and then take our best shot at Brigham Young, BYU, which is going to be hard as well. Near impossible to
okay. If that's on the road again in
go
Provo.
out to Utah. Yeah,
Yeah,
but I
which
don't.
we used to match up well with them.
Well, yeah, but like we've said before, money is a big difference, and
Yeah,
the Mormon Church is very wealthy, and they pour a lot of money into that school. Unfortunately, like the
yeah,
Catholic Church is very wealthy. Notre Dame
hmm
has a lot of alumni, which have been successful. We're catching up as quickly
yeah,
and as best we can, but we still have there's a bit of a curve between us and BYU, even though we were the same 5 years ago.
yeah,
You know, it's just that it's like SMU. It has a lot of money in its program to where you give the donors an opportunity to say, hey, we need money so we can be better at the P4 level. They didn't even need to pay out from the ACC. They you know, just give us the schedule. We'll take care of the rest.
yeah.
And I bet you they're making money. You
No,
know,
yeah, I agree. Yeah, I mean, uh, BYU has always been scrappy.
right?
They've always been a scrappy team. They're always a team you can't take too lightly. And they're always a team that's going to play hard till the final
Well,
bell.
BYU has a lot of fans. If you remember when they came here last year, man, it was a sold out stadium, and it was pretty much, we knew we were going bowling anyway, so you had a lot of people from UCF didn't go. BYU fans bought up all those tickets.
Yeah,
So it was either 50-50 or 60-40 BYU.
yeah. That's
And that should never be the case.
no.
But they had that many fans to where, you know, sometimes you got to deal with it.
Yeah, I guess it'd be nice to have a Colorado in the season this year.
Well, I don't think Colorado's going to be any better next year. So, you know,
Well, I mean, I just said because I think if we could have Colorado this week and Okie State next week.
well, that's West Virginia's won the last 2 weeks
Yeah,
at Houston and then Colorado at home. And
yeah,
the thing is we turned West Virginia every which way but loose when we played them.
yeah.
And, you know,
It's a crazy league.
that's the thing I'm talking about. Taven's not the same player he was 3 weeks ago. He's just not. He's playing like he's a guy who's just tired of being injured. And I'm not going to hold that against him. I mean, everybody has a threshold for the pain that they can take. And what I was
Yeah,
noticing that you don't notice on TV, you'll notice at the game, but you won't notice it on TV because the camera's not going to stay on Taven, you know, that long. But I saw in many of the throws he was just apprehensive in the pocket, not setting his feet because he was afraid of getting hit.
yeah.
And not that he's not a tough kid and all that, but you just get tired of getting hit all the time.
And I guess the thing is, it's 9 games in. I think everybody knows where the offensive lineman you're going to prey on for your main rush when it comes, especially in passing situations like third and long.
Right.
And again, if you got a quarterback who you see who doesn't like getting hit, well, you know that too.
Yeah. No, that's true. And it's going to be interesting to see if Davi plays this Saturday or if they have Taven go out there and at least start the game. They might have him go out and start the game, but if he gets nailed hard, he's probably not going to be available for the Oklahoma State game.
That would be bad.
And I think you want to at least finish 5-7 more than 4-8,
Yes, you do.
right?
Yeah,
So I'm not saying that Taven is a guaranteed win if he plays against Oklahoma State, but at that point, if he's out after if he goes out this Saturday and gets knocked out, you might as well finish the season with Davi.
yeah.
See what you got.
Well, also too, Davi, you've got to remember, they're starting to get more and more tape on him. I think on that last drive, I
Yeah,
don't think Houston really knew what to expect from him.
right. And I
Because
think
again, you got to remember, he only threw one pass, and it was the interception.
no, yeah, yeah.
So
No, I know.
he had a fumble that we recovered. Do you remember that?
Yeah. Well, yeah, he got he got lit up one
Yeah,
and
fumbled the ball,
because
but we actually jumped on it, and so
poor
it is.
blocking scheme got him lit up, man. But
Yeah.
we were able to get the ball back luckily. But yeah, I mean, yeah, it's just the offensive line's limited, and
Mm.
it's interesting because I think Davi is so mobile to where
Yeah.
he sprinted out, to the left there, and that's the reason I think he got kind of lit up on that one play because the offensive line was not used to him being, that mobile
Yeah.
because you know how it is. Um, Taven's not that mobile. He's just not.
Well, I think he moves okay.
Okay, but he's not a real mobile guy. He's
No,
just not,
no, he's not. He's not. Davi moves better.
And plus, what you saw with Taven as well is what I've been noticing with Taven. I don't think he really threw the ball very far downfield.
No,
He goes about 10, 12 yards down the field. He just dinks and dunks everywhere or throws the screen out. But
and
we don't
that's
really ever
exactly.
challenge downfield, and that's catching up to us.
When's the last really long pass we've been throwing? The Cincinnati game.
No, I think we had a long pass with Taven to who was it? Domercant in West Virginia?
Okay, but that wasn't this week.
No, 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 no. We didn't have anything go for anything more about 10, 12 yards this
Yeah,
past
we had
weekend.
nothing. Well, you did have that one. I guess our first field goal where you did hit Dylan Wade down the middle. It was actually a really good play.
Right, but Dylan
Look
Wade
off
was
first.
yacked there, yards
Yeah,
after the catch. It wasn't like it was a throw way downfield. He ran it. It was a
true.
a dump out to him in the middle of the field, and then he made a play out of it.
Yeah.
We're not getting vertical at
No.
all. And I think everybody's starting to notice that who plays against us, and they all come in tight.
Yeah.
You get
And
the
it's almost
start
like
seven guys right in the box, and then 8, 9 can get in the box real quick as well, which then shuts
because
down
they're
your
they're
running
right
game.
there. Yeah.
And I don't think we have any big play receivers really. We have decent receivers, but nobody big play whatsoever. I'm not sure if Day would have been that if he'd been able to stay healthy. Um, but then again, we got problems at receiver and I think that's gonna work itself out. I think we have more receivers coming in that will help.
Well, if you look at Charles Thomas and Dummercant,
Right.
they all caught two passes apiece, and the average yard reception was 6 for Charles, four
Yeah.
and a half for Thomas, and 1 yard for Dummercant. Meaning everything they threw to him was just a screen pass and hoping he
That
could,
didn't go anywhere. Yeah.
yeah, they went nowhere.
Um, we're not getting blocking out on the edges at all.
No. TJ Black didn't catch a pass. Caleb Robertson didn't catch a pass. Again, it comes down to that where it's you know we're very limited with on the passing tree what we can really do right now, and we have really nobody on the team that can stretch the field.
Yeah, there
Oh,
were a lot of 3-and-outs too, which I remember we had that one the one first interception, Matt, that everybody was like so excited, and the next thing you know, 3 plays out, we're punting back to them.
yeah, I mean it's
And it's just
seven. What was that? That was a fourth down, one interception. That was a fourth down. That first one, they didn't convert on the fourth down because we swatted the pass up.
right.
It was a tip ball.
No, but there was one interception when he went out inside rather than outside, Matt. We
Yeah,
gained that ball back after 3 plays.
yeah, and it's yeah,
And it's just like I said, we had, you look up at the scoreboard at the stats, and it's, you know, late third quarter going into the fourth, and you have 200 yards,
yeah,
220 yards, and you're going, it's just ain't going to get it done, and then they're driving on you, and you're thinking, here we go,
yeah.
you know,
Well, even with the stats,
defense is wearing out.
yeah, as weighted against us as they were, because they were just so dominated by Houston in
Right.
Friday's game, we still had a chance to win the game.
Yeah, no, I know.
I
Like we
mean,
said earlier, if Davi throws that pass 2 steps earlier, it's a win, right?
yeah, yes.
Rather than
But you might mark on third down. We're 5 of 15.
really. Is that
That's
what
30, that's 33%.
Yeah, that's not good.
Houston Houston's 50% at 8 for 16.
Yeah. Well, I
Now
don't know.
again,
When you had that one play, did you see where when Braden Marshall went out and they had to put that backup in? And of course, what are you going to do when you have a backup in? You're going to go after him, that number 15.
yeah,
And of course, it went for a touchdown.
yeah.
And
That was a little rough with the hand checking, because you could tell he pushed off him.
yeah.
That
Well,
first touchdown pass was
again,
like,
the Big 12 officiating is not going to call that. They're just not going to, unless it's against us. Otherwise, they're not.
yeah,
They,
that
they
was,
allow
that was
holding.
garbage.
Like this one thing that I was seeing that you had the 2 tackles for Houston. The PFF grades. One was in the 30s, the other was in the 50s. And
Yeah,
they looked like because they were just allowed to hold all night. Because
yeah.
our defensive ends are going to crush those 2 guys, and they would have if you got to call this stuff.
Give him a chance to play.
It's every week, Matt. I'm sitting there complaining about the Big 12 officiating. It's still, I don't think it's as bad as the AAC was, because that was some of the worst
No,
officiating I've ever seen. But it has gotten to the point to where we need to just have an NCAA officiating, and that's it. No more conference officiating, because some of these guys, it's almost
like
like
the
a
NFL.
good old boy network, to where they get in and they suck out there, and there's no kind of checks or balances on them.
No, no, I
The
agree.
only time there is a checks and balance, like you had one SEC coach or ref get fired the other week because I think all the coaches and everybody been complaining about this guy for the last 2 years. They finally said we can't keep him out there.
No,
I know that BYU, uh, Utah last year had a bad call with a Big 12 ref, and I think he was either reprimanded or he was let go.
yeah,
But this is the kind of thing that you need to really kind of get this straightened out, because it's just the officiating is just really substandard. And like I said, you have so many problems with college football right now, with the money angle, with ESPN kind of throwing a whole bunch of money at people and then trying to get their money's worth out of their investment, and everybody else be damned, which that's going to kill the sport. And then you've got, like I said, poor officiating.
yeah,
So it gets to the point to where I guess we'll see if the ratings ever start going down.
yeah. Well, it was a tough loss.
Right.
It was
And I predicted a win, you know.
yeah,
Going in, and I predict like 30 points, didn't I, or something? Like 32, 31 points.
yeah, I said we were going to lose. And I said we were going to get beat. I think 27-24 is what I said. So I was, probably
Close.
should have went to Vegas with that one.
Yeah, real close. 3 points, yeah. To where
Yeah,
they had a point, they were favored by a point. So
Yeah.
They were favored by 4.5 at the beginning of the week last week, and it got down to about 1.5, I think. So,
Well, I think our
um,
kids hung tough. They played
yeah,
hard.
no,
You just,
yeah, they don't quit. I mean,
yeah,
that's one thing I will say. Unlike another team here in Florida that seemed to have quit,
that's
um,
awful.
but and another team that just can't seem to figure itself out. You know, UCF has fought hard. We're getting injuries kind of piling up,
Yeah.
and we also got some some talent problems at areas. We just don't have enough
Yeah.
talent.
No, no, I agree.
And
It's
the good people, they work hard. They're just not talented enough.
yeah. And like I said, I guess that'll come. Different personnel in years to come. So thinking about Texas Tech, what do you think?
Well, um, I did watch a lot of the Texas Tech BYU game just because I had a free Saturday, and I'm one who I canceled my YouTube subscription on
Yeah.
Saturday after not having ESPN. I did not succumb to going out and just buy ESPN. Um, I was able to find the ACC network.
Did you listen to Mark Daniels on the old Philco?
Yeah, well Friday I was there,
Oh,
so
yeah, that's
I
right.
didn't have to listen to Mark Daniels. Although I did see Mark Daniels or listen to him, on my walk back to the car.
Yeah.
After and we lost in the last 20 seconds of the game.
Yeah.
But I did watch a lot of the Texas A&M game, or not A&M, Texas Tech versus BYU,
BYU. Yeah.
and BYU was just outclassed. Period.
Got beat by
BYU is
20.
still a good, disciplined team, but they were outclassed.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Texas
think
Tech
Texas
won by
Tech is a good
22
team, but they're
points.
what?
Well, they beat them by 22 points.
Yeah.
29-7.
Well, Texas Tech's a good team, but they're better at home than even that tour. That's why
Yeah.
it's like I don't know, you know.
Well, Texas Tech, Mark, went into the week before, went into Manhattan to beat Kansas State by 23.
Okay.
So then Okie State beat them 42-0. They did have you know, they've got a stub toe. They did lose to Arizona State. I did
On a
watch that
bad
game.
call. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, on the
The holding call there at the touchdown. It was an awful call that you got to call. You got to make that call. Late in the game like that.
hold. Yeah, it was a
That's
huge
a
hold.
bad hold that the fullback just went and tackled the end there to get it's like, come on.
Hmm.
But
But yeah, then they beat also Kansas 42-17. So it's
yeah, you're going to see that with us. I think we're going to have to get ready to see. Matt, this could be like a 45-3 game or something like that.
that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking I was going
51
to
to
say
3 or something like that.
40, yeah, 45-3. We might get three, or we might get seven, like on a end of the game. But we could be down like 31-0 at half.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. This
I
could
mean,
be bad.
it could just be ugly.
You're just going to
You know.
see there's a different talent between the two teams.
And where we could, and you remember that's the game we lost 24-23 2 years ago, again, at their place.
Right.
But again, it was never in doubt because I knew that, well, we couldn't stop them there at the end of the game. Remember that? We just couldn't stop their offense. And they
Right.
were in field goal range because I think they were on like between their 27 or 17-yard line where they could just kick the,
Well,
two shot
they
field
didn't
goal and
kick the
beat us
field
anyway.
goal because anything could have happened, obviously. But
Yeah. They didn't
that was
have to.
where didn't Boomer miss the extra point, which made it
Exactly.
24-23.
That's exactly it.
And yeah, and then they just kept the ball away from us for the rest of the game, and we
Yeah.
lost.
Yeah.
And I would take that loss. I'll take a 24-23 loss.
Yeah. I don't think we're going to get that, but I
Yeah,
would take that loss also.
because I went into that game hoping, no, there's a chance we could possibly win or something. This one, there's no chance. I hate to say that, but we're not winning. We're not winning on Saturday.
No.
We're not
I
even close to
I
winning.
feel the same way. I think we're going to get beat pretty bad.
Unless they go out and just get drunk Friday night and come play us on Saturday.
Yeah, I doubt that's going to happen.
Yeah, I know that's not going to happen, but that's a 3:30 game on Fox too, by the way. So
Yeah.
we're going to get our pants pulled down and spanked in front of the whole country come
Yeah.
Saturday.
Mm.
That's how it goes. right?
Yeah, going into number 8, nationally ranked on the road.
Mm, mm, mm,
So
mm.
this is all order.
Right.
But do you have any predictions? Because that was going to be my prediction. My prediction was going to be Texas Tech 45, UCF 3.
I'm thinking 45-3.
That was my prediction.
Okay. I'll go 51-3.
Yeah, it could be.
Or
Yeah,
51-6. I'll say we'll get 6.
6.
Yeah. They might go for something, we'll get a turnover, and we'll get 2 field goals out of it. But yeah, I don't see us scoring a touchdown. It's going to be a tough one,
Yeah,
you know, on Saturday to watch. I plan to watch it, because it's
yeah.
it's on Fox 35, and I might as well, But
So it's the national game, huh?
yeah, at 3:30.
God, could this get any worse?
No, and if you want to start going over, I guess state games to where Florida just looked awful, awful, like they've quit. You know,
And that's the thing too. Is that's what a lot of people don't realize when saying you should pay these kids. Well, that is a true showing of kids should not be paid because they're not professionals.
well,
You might not like situations, you might not like what happened with your coach, but if you're being paid, you are a professional and you go out there and you do your job.
no, I agree.
Plain and simple.
And well, Matt, technically you cannot pay the kid either right now, so we're not paying you. You know,
Yeah,
if you know he's not, if you know he's leaving, why pay him?
no, I agree.
If these contracts don't matter, what you're paying, it's if they, like these kids who quit, I wouldn't pay them. I'd say I'm
Yeah,
not paying you anything. You're leaving at the end of the year, leave now.
yeah.
I don't need that out here. I get another kid who you know, wants to play. I don't need you if you're going to quit on me. And,
Well,
like I was saying before, Matt, that you should have never fired Billy Napier
I'm with you.
2 weeks
I
ago.
agree.
You should have left him in until the end of the season and then fired him. These kids were playing for him.
Yeah,
They were playing for him. Now, granted, he had his problems of playing too close to the vest. He was the kind of guy that didn't mind only leading by 3 and running the ball late in games when you sit there and should try to, capitalize with more points. When you got him on the ropes and he'd sit there and he'd just try to run clock and win the gentleman way. It's like, no,
yeah,
no, blow him out now if you can. And
yeah. Well,
when
it
you had
costs
all
his
this
job.
momentum going, and he would sit there and then lose the momentum back, and then it turned into a fight. Because like the Mississippi State game showed that, yeah, this is Billy's fault, is why it got like that. Because
Yeah.
Mississippi State's getting blown out every week now.
Mm-hmm.
And, but I don't think you should have fired Billy because I knew that these kids ultimately sooner or later were going to quit. Because
Yeah.
now they
And
got a
that's
coach this guy's not my head coach.
well, that's the thing is again, you're not a professional. If you're being paid, you don't mail it in.
But like I said, maybe they're not getting paid right now. Maybe they're evaluating every. I don't know if you're going to get paid or not.
Well,
You can't
well,
quit. The NCAA
what they
changed the
did
rule.
against an equally bad Kentucky team, nobody earned a check that night, and they finally have benched that Lagway. It's
Well,
like,
they have to. I think
why did
Lagway
it take
may
why did
be
it take you
done.
9 games? Huh?
He may be done.
Well,
Like,
yeah, he should be. I don't think anybody in Gainesville is going to be sad to see the guy go.
well, he's been inconsistent this whole season. You know,
He
I
had
mean,
a
he had a
season.
decent game against Texas, and that's about it. Everything else, he's been inconsistent.
Well, I think the game also Manning had a bad game in that one, and Florida's defense really rose the occasion.
Right. Well, yeah, Florida's a different team at home, other than if they're playing, you know,
Unless,
USF.
yeah,
So yeah, that's what got them on the wrong foot. Is you let a team like USF come in and win, and it's like it wasn't like USF beat them; they beat themselves.
yeah,
Just spitting in kids' faces late in the game. It was like this is like I said, I'm not
inexcusable.
I'm not saying Billy shouldn't have got fired. I'm just saying you don't fire him in the middle of the season. You wait until the end of the season and then
Fire
let
him,
him go.
fire him December 1st.
Yes, when because now there's no way they're making a bowl. No
Oh
way.
no,
They got 3 games left. They're going to lose next week,
We got
Ole Miss
Tennessee.
at the SIP, and then they got Tennessee coming in. Tennessee's going to rout them, and then they got
Yeah,
Florida State, which Florida State's not any good either. But you
they
know,
have a coach, which
yeah,
might give a little more semblance, and they might beat them at home.
yeah, I don't know if they'll be able to get that, but they have what, 3 wins?
They've got three now.
Okay, 3 wins,
Yeah,
which tells me that, no, they're not. They'd have to win out. That's not happening.
no, I agree. Yeah, they're struggling.
So
I
they're
mean,
done.
and but you also got to remember too the last game of the season, Florida State still has Tommy Castellanos. They get the
I
Castellanos
could
back.
see them winning the Florida State game. Just Florida State's its own kind of
His own trouble.
nightmare. Yeah,
Yeah,
and they can't get rid of Nate or Norvell because they owe him like what, 60 million.
yeah, that's something.
So you can't get rid of a guy who, when you owe him that much money,
You should
especially.
never pay a coach that has one good season.
No, no. If he had 3 or 4 in a row like that, pay him.
Yeah,
You know.
because even if he has the one good season, where's he going to go?
Well, yeah. I mean, these guys did it to themselves, and they always do. I mean, we had that problem with. Luckily, our old coach quit, or we'd have owed him a whole lot of money, and he would have been back this year, Matt. Just think, as bad as it is this year, just thinking having to do that next year,
Yeah,
because we'd have had him this year and we'd have gone 4-8 or something like that, or 3-9 because he'd had no money. Some of
yeah,
these kids would have left, all that kind of thing. And what I mean is no money is that nobody would have given him any money. They would have said, no, you're gonna have to do it with what you got.
yeah,
And I think that's the reason why he quit. He knew that he's got no help here
yeah,
because he blew his opportunity to get help after what he did in 24.
yeah.
And but we were on the hook with that guy for 12, so he was coming back this year no matter what. And just think what it would have been like coming back after he gets fired at the end of this year, because he would have gotten fired if he
Yeah.
didn't quit. And then you sit there and you pay him off, then you got to get a new coach, and then say it is Scott, and then Scott's going through next year. It's just, that's the
You look
one
at
nice thing he did is he
2028
got out
before
of
you
here
start
early.
seeing positive results.
What's that?
It could be 2028 before you start seeing positive results.
I think it's going to be a little better. I think you'll start seeing more positive results next year. By 27, if things are going right, you'll start to see, you know, us hopefully getting, going in the right direction.
Yeah. I was saying that if we had Gus, it'd be 27 or
Oh,
2028 before we
yeah,
actually.
yeah. Gus will probably be 30 by the time. And to stay in the P4 here, especially if they say there's one more shakeup, we've got to get better.
Yeah. No.
We've got to show we belong here. And this is one thing to where, Mahajer needs to figure that out. You know,
Or he's got to go.
yeah, and I don't know. They were talking like he has not signed an extension yet. I'd pull that extension back. So I'm
I
not
would
sure you
too.
are the guy. He hasn't really showed us anything other than he does have a keen ability of being able he does raise money, you know,
Yeah.
but did we talk about this last week? He has four hires, coaching hires, and they all were bad, other than Scott Frost.
Yeah. I really, like I said, the fans hired Scott.
Right. He did go after Rich Wallace, which was a decent hire so far. I like Rich Wallace, but Satia Messer is, she doesn't have any help, so she's doing okay starting it this year. But the volleyball coach that he hired, he fired her because she was no good.
But you look at
Nice person, but she wasn't a P4 coach.
Johnny Dawkins doesn't have any, any help either. And
Yeah,
he's not gonna get rid of him.
yeah, it's basketball is a whole different, and you know, we do know that Big 12 is a really good basketball conference, right?
Yeah.
And the problem that we have with basketball is I think we could become a basketball school if we don't have the money to pay for football and basketball like that. We just don't, you know.
Not yet. Yeah. At least not yet. You never know when you get the, booster money with those boxes they're building. Who knows?
Well, with the boosters, if you had a big time booster that sat there and really loved basketball, like say, who's the owner of the Magic. Sort of like that's what Houston has.
Yeah.
The Rockets, owner is a big Houston, Cougar fan.
Yeah.
So he spends a lot of money in the basketball and the football program, and
Be
we don't have
nice.
that.
Yeah.
Alex Martins, I think, is his name. He's one of the people that own the Magic, and he's done a lot, done quite a bit, you know.
Yeah.
But he's not giving a whole lot of money, which I can't blame him. It's not, it's his money, do whatever he wants with it. But we need somebody like that to sit there and
Yeah.
just spend a lot of money because we got a whole new team on basketball.
Hmm.
There's not one guy from last year back on that team. They're all gone. Like it's pretty much like you grabbed a shirt and washed it and went and dried it and it's a whole new shirt.
Yeah.
So and base or football hasn't gotten that bad yet, but you know it's going to be interesting to see who stays and who leaves. Because we do have some kids that could help out next year as well. They're good players,
Yeah.
especially those kids on defense. I think LeBlanc is really starting to come into his own,
Yes.
and he could be a real, I think, a valuable asset. I don't think he's getting much money. He's probably going to have to get a little bump because he's playing more. He's
Yeah.
starting to show that he can actually contribute. Um, so it's going to be a decision on what does Johnny Walker do, right? Because this is
Somebody
his
buy
third
him.
year. What?
Somebody could buy him.
Somebody could. Somebody could come right in here and throw a lot of money at him, and he'd be gone.
Like they bought Leah,
Lee Hunter, yeah,
Lee got bought, so anything's possible.
yeah. I mean, he's making $2 million over at Texas Tech. So, you know,
Can't blame him.
if Johnny Walker gets that kind of money thrown at him, I couldn't blame him for leaving, unless
No.
we're going to match it. I don't know if we would. You know,
Yeah. That's tough to think about. But I don't know, you got any more?
well, I guess to finish out the you know the P4 in Florida here, Miami got back to the way of what Miami does, right? 38-10 was it, or
30, it was 38-10.
over? I mean, so a convincing win over Syracuse, and like I said, FSU looked horrible, just horrible.
Yeah.
I mean, I've
And
been
let's face it, Clemson's not really a good team.
no, they were 3-5. Now they're 4-5, but it was like
Yeah.
you guys should be able to beat this team, you know.
Yeah.
And FSU's at 4-6 or whatever, so they're getting awful close for 4-5 of not being in the playoff or not playoff, but in
A
bowl
bowl.
season,
Yeah.
And again, I don't know who's interested in this at this point.
Yeah.
A lot of these blue bloods are coming up short, and nobody gives two F's about Vanderbilt. I'm sorry, they don't. Nobody cares.
No.
It's who cares? That coach is gone at the end of this year somewhere. And that might be the coach that Florida winds up with, is a coach like that or something like that. And that would be a bad hire,
Yeah.
you know. But nobody cares about some of these teams that are actually positioning themselves into getting into the playoffs, to where they had a horrible, and they had no ratings last year for this playoff.
No, yeah.
They say they did, but there were no ratings, and they're
I
not going to
guarantee
get
you.
ratings this year. They're playing
Well,
their games on Thursday and Fridays.
I guarantee I more than likely won't watch it this year either. I didn't watch it last year.
I don't know if I
Very,
don't
very
like any of
less.
these teams in it, so why would I watch it?
Yeah. I
You
have
know?
no interest in watching Ohio State play anybody.
Yeah, I mean, whatever the Big 12 puts in there, I might watch their game. Hopefully, Big 12 gets at least two teams in, because I know
You're
the
better
Big
than me.
10 and the SEC are going to get four teams each.
Yeah, you're better than me. I'm not watching anything.
Okay, well, like I said, I'm not sure I'd be glued to it, but I would probably be interested to see how the Big 12 did in the playoff.
Yeah.
But I think the ACC is going to get one team in,
Yeah.
just one, and
That's all
then
they deserve.
right, and then you're going to have that G5, which doesn't, I don't know. I don't know much about JMU, so maybe they're a decent G5 team.
Yeah, well, we'll
I
see,
don't know who
right?
they played P4 wise, but
Yeah, we'll see.
any of these other G5 teams just wouldn't fare well at all, especially on the road first week, which is what they'd be.
Yeah.
You know, but go ahead. You want to wrap up or?
Yeah. Well, for Knightspeed. Oh, real quick, if you have any comments or want to say hello, just drop us a comment. Love to hear from you. And for Knightspeed, I am Matt Johnson.
It's Mark Johnson. We'll wrap it
See
up
you
for the
next
week.
week
Yeah.
and go Knights.
Charge on.